Okay, first tip, be a girl skin, since being a girl is less likely to make you get targeted by other people. And while you're changing your avatar, you may as well unequip all your Robux items and any item that can make you look like you're half decent at the game. You want to make yourself look like you want to make yourself look as clueless and helpless as possible. You want to be the definition of hopeless. You want to be a zero threat to anyone. At least that's what you want to appear to be. So people don't go for you, obviously. Your goal is to not get nominated. This is especially true if you're playing solo. You need to appear as the least threatening person ever. And at the same time, voting out people that are a threat to you. And my second tip is be as nice as possible. Maybe even act intentionally dumb, since people are less likely to go for a dumb person versus someone that looks like they have some level of intelligence. For obvious reasons, since you're obviously going to go for a nice, smart person versus a nice, dumb person. And the third tip, if someone is being toxic, don't go for them. The reasoning for this is simple. Everyone else is going to want to go for them too. I mean, this depends on how big your server is. Let's say you have 6 people in your server and the toxic dude is allied with 2 other people, then obviously go for the toxic dude. But if there's like 16 people, like there is in this, and one dude's being toxic and he has one ally, just let the other lobby handle him. He gives you time. He's the definition of the distraction for you. He's buying time for you to eliminate anyone that you view as a threat. And if he somehow doesn't get out, and it gets to like 8 people, 7 people, then maybe start focusing your attention on him. And also, if he starts, if you notice him playing and he's playing like a fucking god, then obviously go for him as well. If he's like 10 times better than all of you, 10 times better than the second best player, then go for him. And the fourth tip, it's usually better if you're playing with friends. It's always better if you're playing with friends, actually. Since, one, your friends are never gonna vote you out. And two, they will vote you to win if you guys make it to the end competition and your friends get evicted. But you want to make sure your friends don't leave the game, so probably tell your friend not to leave if they get on the jury team, since that's the team that, votes people to win. Fifth tip, you want to go for people that are teaming with each other. If you notice someone has alliance with 2 other people, then maybe you should tell your team to go for them. Or if you are solo, try convincing the other solos to ally together to kill this team of 3, since they are a threat to all of you, and probably overpower you all by just numbers if you all are uncoordinated and dominating each other. Okay, so those were it for the basic tips for the game. Like, those are just basic tips. They're not really that complicated. They're pretty straightforward to follow. So, I want to go over some advanced tips in 2 different parts. The first thing you want, the first advanced tip is you should get to know your competition. And meaning, look, you pull up your thing, look at people in your server, okay? Take their usernames, and then search their profiles. This is doing a profile check on them. And then look at all their friends, see if they're friended with anyone else in the server, and take notes of who their friends are that they're allied with. Since if their other friends are in the server, that means they're gonna be teaming together 99.9% of the time. So they should be your targets as I've gone over in the previous tip. Okay, so since I wasn't competing in the leader competition, I went and I looked through my competition and I found a team of 3. I would not have known that if I didn't take the time to just simply go and look through my competition by doing profile checks. And this tells me, like, look, there's a team of 3, maybe should take one of them out, and then there's another duo, so need to we need to kill the duos. So those should be your top priority. If you're solo, if I was solo, let's say Zom Killer here, he's my friend, but let's just pretend he was solo. I would say he's alone, so I would reach out to him, ask him, hey, there's like a team of 3 here, maybe we should ally to take out this big threat that could threaten both of us, and we should work together and survive till the end since we're both solo. I would have known that if I didn't take the time to just do a background check on these other people in the server. So that's why it's always good to check your competition by doing profile checks. And second, if you're playing with a friend, unfriend them on Roblox. Only temporarily though. So people can't do what I just did here and find out that you have a team of 3 going on. If someone does profile checks in your server, but you're unfriended with all your friends, it's just gonna look like you don't even know each other, so you wouldn't be a threat anymore, and instead this duo would be their threat. So, and they might even reach out to you guys, and the solo player that is, and ask you, hey, do you want to ally to take out the duo here? And they might tell you, like, I did a profile check on them, although I find this highly unlikely since nobody does this, but you never know. And then you would know, like, hey, this is a guy we need to focus on getting out as well as the duo that he discovered. So, and also, this isn't really as big of a tip as, or this isn't really as important as the previous 2 points I just discussed. But let's say you won the safety competition, and you have like a duo here and a duo here, and this is the duo you want to vote out. So you nominate him, except you don't. You nominate these 2 random people that you don't want to get out, and then so there's your duo competing, and then the 2 duos you just nominated. So one of these guys is guaranteed to win. So if your ally wins, just tell them, save one of these guys. Okay? And then if you win, you're obviously going to save one of them, so you can nominate this guy. And if they win, they're going to save themselves. And a little bonus if you win and save them, you could go whisper them, hey, say like, hey, I saved you because you're cool. You seem like a nice guy. Let's be friends, or let's team, or some shit like that. And convince them to vote out this guy that you're now going to be able to nominate since you just saved him, and he had no chance of saving himself from you since you just nominated people but him. That's just a little thing you could know if you're playing duos and you want to target a specific guy because he's like good at the game, like really good at the game, and you want to take out the good players, so that would probably be the best way to neutralize that threat. And fourth, this only really matters if you're playing with a friend, but if the duos game mode gets selected, you don't want to actually duo with your friend. You want to either become solo or do it with a random person instead. There's multiple reasons for this. If you are evicted and you are duoed with your friend, you will both get evicted instead of you and some random guy. Since you allied with your friend, you're both now gone instead of just one of you. So that's why I like to split up and not duo with your friends if the duo's game mode is selected. And also another thing, if one of you wins the leader competition, both of you will not be able to compete since you're on the same duo. Where if you were split up, one of you could compete instead of none of you. since only one of you would have won leader last round. Hopefully that made sense, but if it didn't, you could watch it again and maybe you can make sense of it. But if you can't, well, that's too bad. So sad, I guess. Okay, sixth thing. If you have enemies in the server and you want to sway them into voting your way, you could use a little thing called reverse psychology. Let's say, for example, my friend, this guy, he got nominated. Since we are nominated, and these two people were my enemies, and they're on the player team, and it's just him and this random ass dude on the nomination team. So I would go like, hey, vote out Zomkiller or I'm going to kill you. Vote Zomkiller out now. Zomkiller needs to go. Kill him now or I will kill all of you. And that will most likely make the server not want to vote out Zomkiller and instead vote out the random guy since you're being toxic or since you're already enemies with them. So they're not going to listen to you and instead they're going to do the reverse of what you said. Hence the name reverse psychology. And seventh, try whispering people to vote the person you want to vote out. Like, justify to them why they should vote out the person you want. Unless that person's obviously friends with them, then don't do it. And this is why it's important to do profile checks on people. Because you don't want to accidentally whisper someone's friend telling them to vote out their friend, because then that's going to put a target on your back. And instead, you want to go for, you want to whisper solos that look clueless. You want to whisper clueless people. Tell them who to vote. You want to make the clueless people your little puppets. You want them to do as you wish. You want them to fucking be your little slaves, I guess. Be your puppets, like I said. And yeah, that's pretty much all the tips. There might be a clickable thing at the top right if I figure out how to do that, but it will go over how to win the individual game modes, although I think some of the tips for these just break the game, and what I mean by break the game is makes it virtually impossible for you to lose these specific game modes. So if you're interested on winning, I don't know, check out the video, also link in the description, probably, if I don't figure out how to do the clickable thing at the top right. Anyways, see ya.